בסוף יום הלימודים רצנו ו... יש לך 3 שניות להביא את המשקפת. בחיים לא תקבל אותה.
את הילד.
שלא התכוונתי שהוא ימות. אתם חייבים להאמין לי. אני לא ישן בלילות. אני כל כך מצטער. אני כל כך מצטער.
Welcome to Voices of Tomorrow. I am Nina, your host, and yes, we have a fascinating show, as all our shows are fascinating. We have a filmmaker with us, but he is not from this country. He is from Israel. They've flown in from Israel because the film he made was absolutely incredible. I sat down one morning. He sent it to me from Israel, and I sat down. I thought, I'll just have a little look at it. An hour and a half later, I got up, and it was absolutely awesome. Dror, incredible.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely awesome, and it's about the younger generation.
Yes.
And it's a tragic story.
Yes.
Very tragic.
Very tragic.
Of what actually is going on in this day and age. Of what is happening, the peer pressure and what is going on. What made you decide to do a film like this? It's such a strong subject.
Right. Actually, I found myself as a father who scared when he sent his children to schools because of what I read in the newspapers, because what I see in television, because what I hear in the radio. And I thought to myself, well, what can I do to help to avoid this problem of
with our younger generation?
Yeah, of the violence.
Of the violence, yes.
Yeah. So I thought about some ideas. I mean, if I could, actually I just was worried about my children. If I could hire 2 muscles men to sit next to them in the classroom, I would do that.
Is it? I didn't realize that it would be that bad in Israel as it is in. You know, I think of Los Angeles. Obviously, we have a lot of problems in Los Angeles. You have the same problems in Israel.
We have enough problems in Israel. I don't know how is it exactly here, but we have enough problems in Israel.
Well, it sounds like the same since what you're talking about and what we have had.
Quite a lot of problems. And for me, you know, I don't need so many. I just want to avoid the one problem of my children.
Of your children.
Yeah.
And that was how you made this movie.
Yes, that's where it came from.
That's how it started.
Yes,
now,
my fear as a father.
Your fear as a father. As you're a single parent now. You've divorced.
I divorced, yes.
But you're still in contact with your children all the time.
All the time.
Now, what alerted you to this? Did something happen in school, or did your kids come home and tell you something, or what happened? How did this?
Nothing happened, but you know, I know that usually people buy the safe after someone come into the house and steal the money.
Yes.
So I didn't want to do it. I want to do something before.
You wanted to do it before something happened.
Right, to avoid.
So you wanted to bring it to the attention of the public.
That's right. That's right.
And so you decided to do this particular movie. Now I understand, we talk about an independent movie, and we were talking in the car, and you were saying, well, this is independent, but really independent.
Very independent.
Now, what do you mean by independent? Your terminology of independence.
Yeah, it's because when I decided to make the movie, I didn't know anything about making movie.
You never made a movie before?
I never made a movie. The only thing that I did with movie was just sitting in front of the screen and eating popcorn. That's the only connection that I have to movie, that I had with the moving. And when I decided to make a movie, when I started to think, well, how can I do it? I mean, I know it must need a lot of money and everything. So I tried to raise some money, but I couldn't.
And you couldn't raise it probably because you were unknown?
Because I'm unknown, yeah.
You were unknown?
I was unknown.
Then you were unknown?
I was unknown, yes. Yes.
Now you're known, but then you were unknown.
Yeah, right. Then I was unknown.
So nobody will give you any money?
Nobody will give money
Not
for
even for the subject you were talking about?
Nothing. No.
Nobody wanted to help you?
It doesn't matter the subject. It doesn't matter for them.
Doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I decided that I do it. I'm going to do it because I want to do it. And I started to think, okay, how can I do it? And I said to myself, okay, if I hire professional actors, it will cost a lot of money. So what I did, I asked my friends and family, and my brothers act in this movie, and my father, and my cousins, and my brother's wife.
So this became a kind of a family affair?
Family and friends movie.
Family and friends.
Yeah, and what I did, after I wrote the script, I collected all these people. And
how did you write the script? How did you know how to write a script?
I didn't know how to write a script. You
just wrote down what was in your head?
No, I just had something in my mind, and then suddenly there was a competition of writing script in the newspaper, and I called them and I asked for the 2 papers, the format of writing script, and I wrote it as this format.
Oh, how incredible.
Yeah,
so you did have a little tiny bit of help somewhere along the line of what to do and how to do it.
Yeah, 2 pages.
Now, did you realize how much this might cost you?
No.
That was not your concern,
Well, I thought to do it without money.
doing it without money.
Without money.
And how did you wanted everybody to volunteer?
Everybody volunteered.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, sure. They even paid some money to learn how to act. So I collected these people. They came to me. They studied how to act, and because I teach them what I want. Some of them paid some money for that. I took this money and I paid it to the only one who was professional was a cameraman and the soundman. That's all.
And why did you choose those 2? Because those happen to be 2 very important parts of making a movie. Is your cameraman, because he's the one taking the footage.
Yeah, but
How did you know that?
It was not the first class. It was one of the cheapest that I could find. That's it.
The cheapest one you could find.
Yes.
And you felt that he could do the job. Well, obviously he did, because we've seen the movie.
The only thing that I wanted from the cameraman will be that he will be cheap enough. That's what my need is.
That you didn't think whether he could do a good job or not.
No, because I couldn't afford myself
You couldn't.
more than what he wanted.
And did you think that starting off this was going to be a worthwhile message to the younger generation?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Did you think when you started doing this,
Yes.
that the subject you had chosen was a worthwhile subject to get out there for the younger people to understand what's going on?
That's what my main purpose, but I didn't know that it will succeed as it did.
As it succeeded?
Yes.
And when did you start this?
When did I start?
Yes.
Maybe 6 years ago.
6 years ago. And
Yeah.
how long did it take you to get this all together?
From the minute I started to write the script until the first screening, it took 3 years.
It took 3 years to
Yes.
do the whole thing.
Yes.
And what has happened since then?
Since then, I showed it in the last 5 years. I showed it almost in all of the schools in Israel. It was recommended to be shown in all the schools in Israel. And I also started to show it in the United States. I showed it in Indiana. I showed it in Chicago. And I hope to show it as much as possible, as much as I can everywhere.
Everywhere else.
Yes.
Now, what makes you think this is so important? Is it the reaction you've had about this movie, or why it's so important now?
First of all, I thought about it that this is so important. That's why I made this movie. After that, the reactions that I received. Yes.
On that, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We'll find out how did he get his crew and how did he get all his actors. And we do have an actor sitting with us, actually the young man, Yossi. He's the one that actually played the lead part, and we'll go into his story. We'll come back and we'll talk to Yossi. We'll be right back.
משהו שאין לי ושימצא חן בעיניי. יש מבין? נו באמת, אמיר, די עם זה, תן לי בבקשה לעבור, מחכים לי בבית. שתוק. פרטיות בבית הזה?
רוני, אתה לא יכול לצפות שנראה אותך מתנהג בצורה כזאת ונתעלם ממך כאילו כלום לא קרה.
רוני, אתה יודע שאנחנו רק רוצים לטובתך. ואנחנו רואים שמשהו מעיק עליך.
חכה שנייה. מה העניינים? למה אתה לא יורד?
לא משנה, תגמור לדבר, אני מחכה, אני רק רציתי להגיד לך משהו.
למה אתה מחכה? תגיד מה שאתה רוצה, זו שיחה ארוכה.
חשבתי שאולי תרד איתי לכמה דקות ותראה איזה תרגיל יפה למדתי לעשות.
נו באמת, אמיר, אתה והשטויות שלך, זה מה שבראש שלך עכשיו, התרגיל החדש שלך?
טוב, ביי.
Welcome back to Voices of Tomorrow. Yes, we are here with the filmmaker from Israel, and I want to introduce you now to Yossi. Yossi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
It's good to have you on the show. Now, I understand you played a lead part in this movie that suddenly kind of appeared.
Exactly.
And how did you get chosen? Were you a friend or were you?
Dror, as the director, came to our high school and asked if a couple of kids would like to perform in the show. So we learned for about half a year the texts for the movies.
And Dror, did you teach him how to act?
Yeah, I taught all the actors.
You taught all the actors?
Yes.
Had you ever done that before?
No, never. I just
Well, how
knew
could
what
you teach? Oh, you just knew what you wanted.
I knew what I wanted from the characters, yes.
And was he a good teacher?
Yes. It was a lot of hard work, but yes.
Why did he choose you? What makes you think is it something he had in his mind on what he wanted? The look?
It took the last minute, I think, till we started to show the movie. There was me and another guy
Yes.
And both of us were for the same part, but in the end I was chosen for...
You were the better actor, right?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could, I don't want to say nothing.
Well, I won't say that because obviously you got chosen, so you
Yes.
must have been very good. Now, when I first saw the movie, the opening is that you've strangled this kid,
Yes.
right? You've
And
kind of killed the kid,
Yes,
and then all you see is running.
of course.
And you're running. Were you actually running?
I was running not for the same period of time, but we did it for like for a couple of days. But yes, I did run a lot.
But you did run a lot.
A lot.
How did you perceive the story in your mind of getting, because you played a very real character in it, and how did you understand that?
In Israel, I don't know how it goes here in America, but in Israel it's very common that you see kids getting bullied by other kids. So it was very easy for me
And
to...
that happens a lot in your school?
Yes. as well.
Really?
Yes, it happens. It happens, I think, all worldwide.
It's worldwide,
Exactly.
but it sounds like it's a little stronger, a little more conflict there. Is it?
I think we have other problems, so maybe it makes it a little bit bigger. But I think it happens practically the same all over the world.
And this is why you wanted to bring this out, because this happens a lot there.
Right.
And does it happen, for what reason does it happen? Is it because the kids are, some are poor, some are richer, some are, what is the, are just kids?
I tell you, my main purpose with the movie was to deal with the connections, with the communications.
Yeah.
And the byproduct was bullying. The main product was communication between parents and children.
Between the parents and the children.
And between the children and themselves.
And the children in school together,
Yes.
actually working together,
Yes.
or actually studying together,
Right.
learning together.
Right. That was the main purpose.
And there's a big conflict there.
Yes.
Why do you think there's this big conflict? Is it because some kids come from better families than other families? They're all the same.
I don't think kids look for a reason to bully other kids. Could be things maybe that comes from home. Or
Yeah, because in the movie you played like you played like the strong guy. You were the heavy guy. You were like
The
do it
rich
my,
one.
do it my way or don't do it at all.
Exactly.
Or something will happen to you.
Exactly.
And that's what happened to this kid.
That he was murdered by the end.
This kid would not involve in what you wanted him to do.
Exactly.
So you turn around and say, okay.
And strangled him.
Now, in real life, do you think that would have happened, that they actually strangled him? Because you, in the film, you strangled him, he died.
Yes, it can happen in real life as well, and now it's even worse than just using your hands. I think now there's knives and other...
And you have that now already? You have guns there and knives?
Guns, no.
No.
Guns, no, but knife, I'm sure like from school there should be at least maybe 20, 30 people that goes with a knife on them, I think.
To school? And wow, and how old are these kids?
I should say about 14 and up.
14 and up?
Could be even less, but from what I know, it's about...
It's about, so
high school.
Do you get a little nervous going to school sometimes, unless you don't cooperate with whoever you have to cooperate with, so nothing happens?
Now it's after me, but I can tell you there was a couple of days when I was in a moment that I was very afraid that something would happen because
Well, what did you do that they didn't like?
Just be myself, I think. You don't need a special reason. If somebody wants to bully you, will bully you, never mind what. He doesn't need a special reason.
Is this why you are so... how old your children? How old are your children?
These days,
Yes.
my daughter is 14, my son is 11.
So they're right in that age time.
These
So-
days, yes.
Exactly.
And you have... Now, do your children come home and tell you about this stuff that goes on?
Well, my son told me once that a kid in the third grade
Yes?
had knife.
Had a knife?
Had a knife in the third grade.
And did he tell you the reason why he had that knife in school?
No reason. He just came to school with a knife and he just show everyone that he has a knife.
He was proud
But
about it.
this is not a usual thing. I mean, it's not like in every school in Israel, some children
No.
come with knives.
No.
No. But I want to tell you why I choose choking and not knives.
Okay.
It was the same then and these days as well. But I choose choking and not knife, because I didn't want to deal with the criminals. I didn't want to deal with the criminals. I wanted to deal with the normal boys.
Yes.
Maybe he was a little bit...
With no instruments, no guns, no knives, nothing, just your
he was
hands.
maybe a troublemaker, something like that.
Yes.
But that things like that killing can happen because you don't think what can happen when you start violent.
It's true.
If
No.
you mean to kill someone, if you mean to hurt someone, then you come with a knife. He didn't really mean to kill him.
So you didn't, the movie side, you didn't really mean to kill him.
Yes, but from the all emotions and everything in the same minute that he like disrespected me, so it came to a
He disrespected you, so you just went to choke him, but you didn't really mean to kill him.
Exactly.
And in the movie, how did you feel about, you know, the real, it's not real life, but you killed him?
I can tell, we worked about it. It was really hard working about it.
To get yourself into that place.
Exactly.
Very, very hard.
Exactly.
How long did it take to make this movie?
2 months.
The actual movie, 2 months.
2 months.
The actual shooting time
Yes.
of it.
During the summer break in Israel.
Now, do you want to go into the industry, or what do you want to do now? I mean, you've got a great movie ahead of you now.
I see myself as an actor. I would like to progress with my life in this subject.
And do you have much chance of that in Israel? Do they make many movies in
Not
Israel?
much. Most of it, it's theater than more movies.
Theatre more than
Movies,
than
yes.
movies. So they don't make that much there.
Not too much.
So do you see yourself coming as a big director now?
No, I continue in my way. Now I deal with, because my children now, my daughter is 14 and my son is 11, so my next project is to deal with drugs. And
So you're going to start dealing with drugs.
Yeah.
So your last project was dealing with peer pressure and killing somebody. And actually, was it would you call it a gang?
in the first movie there were gangs.
That was what you portrayed with with Yossi.
With Yossi.
But that was like a little gang.
Yeah, it was a little bit gang, but I think Yossi was a victim of himself because he wanted to give up when the victim told him that if he will keep hurting him, he will complain to the principal and everything. And Yossi wanted to give up, but his gang didn't let him because they told him, how can you do it? How do you give up? How do you live in like that?
So they made him so, and that's what gangs do, is it? They
Pressure.
like pressure,
Yeah.
pressure,
Pressure, exactly.
Because you were the leader.
Yeah.
And I became the
And then you
victim.
became the victim, and you didn't want to be. You
Exactly.
didn't want to be the leader anymore.
Exactly. At that moment when it
Kind of
happened.
backfired on you.
Exactly.
On that, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we'll find out where they're going with their next movie, because he is writing another one.
אני פונה אליך, אדון יקר שלי, ומבקש ממך שתסלח לי על כל מה שעשית. פונה לכבוד בית המשפט. אני מבקש את אמירה שלי חזרה הביתה.
בית המשפט!
תיק פלילי מספר 4826 של 99. פסק דין. הנאשם במרפלת יקום על רגליו. במהלך קטטה זו חנקת את דורון עמוסי וגרמת למותו. בית המשפט רואה בחומרה רבה מעשה זה. אמיר חנק את דורון שנייה אחת יותר מדי. שנייה אחת יותר מדי.
As we all know, a younger generation are falling through the cracks. Parents are working. We can't help that. The cost of living is going up. And this happens all over the world. Well, it's not just in America, so we can't say this is our baby. It is across the world. We're talking about two gentlemen that have flown in from Israel and talking about the film and how he made it, why he made it. He made this movie because of his children. That's
right.
why you made the movie.
That's right.
And so this is now hurdled over into making another movie now on drugs. Do you have a big
Yes.
drug problem in Israel?
Unfortunately, yes, and it's getting bigger from day to day.
Why? Are we getting lackadaisical from our mothers and fathers? Is that what the problem is?
I think the influence because of the movies and the things they see in other places.
That's the influence. Would you say that? You go to movies
Yes.
and you see drugs in movies? Does this influence
Every
the
day.
kids? Every day.
Guns,
It's
drugs,
all
everything.
on the movies and this influence. So you like sitting there and you think, well, we can do that.
Exactly.
Oh, not you personally, but
Yeah.
I mean, you know, kids can
course.
go out there, they can do
course.
that.
It's yeah.
And the parents, now do you think the parents should get more involved than they are? I know they have to work, but do you think they have to do a little bit of an adjustment to help their kids and understand where their kids are going and what they're doing?
Exactly. I think they should start it even when they're a little bit smaller. Maybe try to let them know what drugs can do to you.
How important it is.
Exactly. Not to use drugs instead of just realizing one day that your son is.
Do kids just try drugs to find out what they are rather than knowing what they are?
I think so.
Yeah. They probably try it, and then once they try it, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Probably.
And then they all get together and they encourage each other. Is
Exactly.
that what
As a
happens?
team.
It's like a encourage. Well, you try it and you try it, and all of a sudden you've got 10 kids doing drugs.
Doing
Exactly.
drugs.
And how come you're not able, you know, everyone try it and you don't try it, so everyone laugh at you and then you must try it because you want to be like everyone.
So how are you going to get the message out there? Because I truly believe that it's the parents that really have to help the kids. We are saying, yes, the schools have got to teach the kids. No, I think it comes from the home. Do you agree with that?
100%. And I did this movie, my first movie, I need, if you saw this movie, you probably remember that you didn't see any teacher in the movie because
There was no teacher,
No
there was
teachers.
2 families.
Exactly, because I want to take all the responsibility as a parent. I want to have the responsibility for educating my children. I want my children to study in the school, and I want to educate them.
You want them, you send them to school to be educated.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, to study.
To study.
Yeah, and I want to educate them.
You want to educate them at home of what's right and wrong.
That's right.
Is that a good? Was that how you were brought up?
Yes. I was very open-minded with my parents, so there was
Oh,
nothing.
your parents open-minded with you.
Yes, a lot. I think that's why I didn't fall into between the cracks.
They kind of, yeah, it's the cracks. They kind of casually mentioned everything to you, the consequences, and said, well, you know.
And if I had a question, I knew I could have gone to my parents and asked them.
Is that the biggest thing of having an awkward question or having a question and having to ask your mum or your dad or both?
It could be a very not comfortable situation, but my parents gave me
Is it the parents that have to make it comfortable?
both. I think you need both the kids and the parents should do a teamwork together.
They should do it, the teamwork together.
Exactly.
You agree with that?
I agree that most of the job is on the parents because the parents, since the kid is young, they give him the feeling that he can come with them with every problem.
With every problem,
Yes.
which is why you have a mum and dad.
That's right, exactly. Usually mom and dad, they said, sometimes hear my friends say, we are like them, friend of them. I said, well, listen, friends, they have plenty. They have only one parent, and they need parents. They don't need you as friends.
No.
Yeah, right.
And also the children can go to the mother for one thing and the father for something
That's
else,
right.
because there's 2 different roles played right there, whereas your son would feel more comfortable going to you to ask you certain questions.
Like a man-to-man.
And your daughter would like to go to your ex-wife for, you know, to ask certain questions there.
That's
now,
right.
do you think there's a big difference now because you are now both divorced and you've got separate families going on here? Is it still okay with the kids?
I'm not the exact sample because I am very involved in their life, and I go there like it's my house, and I go to visit them every
And
day.
your wife allows that, your ex-wife, excuse
My
me.
ex-wife come to my house and feel free to come to my house whenever she wants. We are not the right sample.
Do you have, well, yeah, but you're a good example for this day and age, because there's a lot of
Yes.
divorce, of
yeah.
divorced parents around out
Happening.
there.
Okay.
Do you find that in school now, a lot of divorced parents?
Yes, you see it. You see it everywhere. I have a lot of friends that their parents are
Now,
divorced.
do you think in the particular movie that Dror just made, and you were the lead actor, it was about, you know, gangs and killing somebody and sort of, you know, do you think it was a strong subject or a real subject?
I think it was a real and strong subject, current for today, and I think for the next even 100 years.
And what do you think about Dror that is going to now, he's going to write, you're writing a script already, correct?
90%.
90%. What do you think of him doing this new one with drugs, and you going to
Well-
help him write it, or are you going to give him some insight on what's going
As
on?
much as I know, I will help him. Yes, I
Because
guess.
you're not involved in drugs.
Yes, and I'm not involved in.
Have you ever
drugs.
tried drugs?
I tried once, but it didn't. I
you-
preferred to go with the
And
friends.
when you tried that one time, did you tell your mum and dad?
My mom's not. Yeah, my father doesn't know. Now he will know.
Well, no.
Now we'll know. My mom knows about it.
Yeah, but your mother knew about it, and was she upset, or did she explain to you?
She accepted it. She felt comfortable because I came to her and I told her, listen, Mom, I tried once. He didn't talk to me, and we said about it and did the minus and the plus that it can give you, and we got to a situation of a point that we knew that it's not gonna.
It's not good for
No
you,
go-
and you
not gonna do any
decided
good.
not to do it.
Exactly.
So you have a great subject coming up
Yes.
on drugs. Why do you want to bring this out in the forefront?
Because of the age of my children. They're getting close to the age that the friend of them will use drugs.
And you're afraid of that.
Of course, I'm terrified.
What about kids? What about these young kids getting pregnant? Young girls getting pregnant in school? What do you feel about that?
Well, it's not a usual thing in Israel.
It's not.
No.
No.
Well, not something that I know about it.
You don't know, but
No.
you would know.
Well, you should ask Yossi. I think he's
What is-
closer.
It doesn't happen quite often. It can happen, but not quite often,
So you
like
don't have
bullying.
a problem with that?
No.
Not at all?
No.
So, which is good.
Yes, at least that.
At least that's good. Now, I understand that you want to come to America. Well, you are in America right now,
Yes.
but I mean, you want to come here and live, you want to promote your career.
Exactly.
How do you want to do that?
In any way I can.
Any way you can. Well, you
Any-
have a good reel to show everybody.
Yes.
So you're going to cut
But
that
still,
down.
I need a lot of hard work
Yes.
to get to a situation that I can.
And do you think it's a good thing to go into, or do you think it's because it's...
I don't know if it's good or not good. It's me. That's the way I
That's
feel.
your dream.
That's my dream. That's not, it's my life. It's not my dream. That's what I want to
That's
do.
what you want to
period.
do.
Yes.
And you're now changing careers because you're now becoming a writer, a producer, a director. I understand you had to do your own editing.
That's right. I didn't mean to edit, but
You had to do your own of a lot of things, right?
That's right. Almost everything. I didn't even want to act, but because I didn't have enough actors, so I found myself acting.
So you got a new acting. By the way, you were very good.
Thank you very
I
much.
have to say you were very, very
Thank you very
good.
much.
You might even you might have to come to Hollywood.
I'd be happy to.
Absolutely. So your next project is drugs.
Yes.
And when are you going to start that?
I hope as soon as I finish the script, I will do the same format. I will find the actors. I will teach them about half a year.
So you're telling me that you really don't need money, but if you really have an idea, and this is for the young people as well, that you can really go out and do it.
Yes, sure,
You
100%.
you don't need money.
Well, I wish I had, then I could do it.
Yeah, but you
technically.
didn't. But
I
you
didn't. I didn't have, so I did it without money.
And it's became very, very popular.
Yes.
It's being shown all over the world.
All over Israel and start to get.
And you've just shown it in Chicago,
Indiana.
Indiana. So, what message would you like to give to the younger generation out there?
To talk to parents more, to talk between themselves more about problems, and to talk to the advisors in school about all the problems they have. Not
the
to keep for themselves, not to stay with the problem.
Not to stay with the problem.
Yes.
What's your quick message, Yossi?
Just try to look on the other kid's eye and try to see that what you're doing, it's not just, I'll try to tell it different. Just try to see it in the one that's getting bullied, to see it in his eyes and...
See how you can help them.
Exactly.
And now we're going to close the show. Yes, we've had a great show, both from Israel. Fascinating how he started this with no money, no nothing, no actors. He taught the actors, he did the editing, he did the filming. It's an incredible film, which you've gone through this, you're going to see little clips of it, of what it was and what they did and how they did it. Incredible message to our younger generations, but not only to the younger generations, to our parents. The parents to look at this and see exactly where they should be playing their role and watching their children and helping their children. Sometimes a child is in a dilemma and cannot go to the parents. When you see that, go to the child and help the child out. Thank you for watching Voices of Tomorrow. We'll see you soon.